Alternative history, a different approach with far-reaching implications. Approximately 15 years for the orbit displacement. During this time, Earth with a shallow ocean and no dry land. The Moon was going in the same direction as Earth with reducing distance. The cause and effect is predictable and totally unavoidable. The birth of a single giant continent. The pull of gravity caused a tidal bulge. It became a barrier mountain. The mountain grew into a continent. The continent was held tidal locked as the Earth rotated. At the slip zone under the continent, extreme friction caused a layer of molten rock. The continent floated on this molten layer. Molten rock emerged from under the continent. The top layer solidified instantly. This is now the ocean floor. This also accounts for the molten magma below the Earth's crust. Earth, in this location, was the hottest period in Earth's history. This orbit is now occupied by planet Venus. The space for the third planet from the Sun was empty. This is Earth with a single continent, Pangaea. North and south is equal in size. The orbit period was 266 days. The pull of gravity at 30% closer to the Sun caused a mountain of water at the South Pole. The southern hemisphere was pulled into an egg shape. A second source of gravity, the Moon, pulled the water at an angle of 90 degrees. This exposed the bulge at the South Pole as a circular island and a circular ocean. Because of this movement, a fast-moving circular tidal ocean became a permanent feature as long as the Earth-Moon system remains undisturbed. At 30% closer to the Sun, without any day-night cycle, it was necessary to have a high concentration of external melanin for protection against harmful radiation from the Sun. With complete certainty, all life forms were either brightly colored or black. All light-colored life forms belongs to a future age. This world age became the first age of mankind. The present age is the fifth age of man, and also the first age of primitive man. The seven world ages and the five ages of man are known to the educational establishment. This knowledge is suppressed. Middle Earth, South Pole. The circular island was called the Upper World. The circular ocean, the Great Circle. Then the Lower World or opposite continent. The Outer Ocean, the North, the dark side of Earth was called the Underworld. This concept of Laurasia and Gondwana land is wrong, because you'll see North America is in the wrong place, and also Africa is too large to fit into Gondwana land. The size of Africa compared to Asia shows the entire concept is wrong and totally out of proportion. A jigsaw puzzle. The division of the continent. The middle of the continent, this was Africa, including Southern Europe, the Near East, all the way to India, was part of this landmass. The circular island was Egypt, Carthage, and Rome, which were the same place, Greece, Turkey, Assyria, Arabia, Iran, and Western India. The circular island is known to the modern world, but its former existence is also denied. This island is officially known as the myth of Atlantis. It is a landmass that no longer exists as an island. Described by Plato as an ocean surrounded by a continent. A perfect description of the circular ocean. The ancient Egyptians named the circular island the Great Oval. The accepted history of Africa is incomplete. Ancient Africa was the circular island. Egypt was the middle of the land. All this was part of the circular island. Much of modern Africa was the ocean floor. The historical priority of the people of the circular island is written out of history. There was only one language on earth, and all of mankind were of the same external appearance. The circular island is the location of highly advanced archaeological sites. These are ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, ancient Greece, Turkey, Assyria, Iran, and India. All belong to the first age of man, 12,000 years ago. The planet of the cross, also called Nebru, the Lords, by the ancient Egyptians. Passing through the solar system, its path, altered by Jupiter's gravity, is on its way to the inner solar system. The first age of mankind is about to end. The coming catechism was kept secret from the masses. Survival plans were put in place for the few. Modern Earth, plate tectonics, the continental drift theory, is a uniformitarian concept. This theory is self-evidently wrong. The reason is obvious. It is freely admitted the ocean floor crust is severely shattered. Shattered crust cannot transmit a horizontal force to move the continents. This is the extent of the shattered ocean floor crust. On land, folding of the crust is also obvious all over the world. It is a stress relief system against all horizontal movement. With this stress relief system in place globally, it is difficult to find one good reason for the acceptance of this theory. There is a problem of acceptance. It is repeated many times. Movement of the continent is caused by magma rising from a deeper level, forcing the continents apart. If this was correct, the fracture system on the Atlantic floor would not be confined to the middle of the Atlantic, but instead started at the continental margin. There are huge gaps in the knowledge. Observational details are missing. The theory simply projects an image, exploiting the matching coastline between South America and the middle of West Africa. South America displays all the signs of being stretched and no longer fit completely when placed next to West Africa. This is the accepted image of the continental drift theory over 250 million years. It claims the Atlantic Ocean is expanding and the Pacific is shrinking, and that the continents are still moving. All continents displaced to the north conformed into a V shape. The continents are like a thick viscous liquid that cannot be displaced if pushed. There is also the formation of a tail, evidence that the continents are elastic. For example, Central America. When projected onto a sphere, this is the corrected form of the V shapes, similar to a thick liquid being pulled to the north. All the continents were going in the same direction, to the north. There is a scientific consensus. The giant continent, Pangaea, was centered on the South Pole. Plate tectonics, the accepted continental drift theory, fails completely to comply with the formation of V-shaped continents moving exclusively in one direction, totally without Atlantic Ocean floor spreading. The incredibly thin crust floats on a strata of molten rock, 1,000 times the volume of all oceans combined. An external gravity will cause a magma tidal surge. This will dislocate the floating continents in a single direction.